Good morning. And welcome to this sleep and memory conference. You have to realize that you are actually inside a very unique oasis with considerable history. Upstairs, there is an apartment which I believe Baudelaire once lived in. So you can walk in the footsteps of history. I think sleep research is really rooted in French neuroscience, obviously with Michel Jouvet, who passed away in 2017, who already in 1961 really coined the two stages of sleep, the telencephalic and rhomboencephalic, known later as slow wave and REM sleep stages. So I think it's fit really to have a symposium here in this setting. I just want to repeat the goals which we outlined for this meeting. One, advancing and disseminating scientific knowledge on how specific sleep processes aid memory consolidation. Two, inspiring science and arts to adopt new approaches to the importance of sleep and dreams. And three, benefiting society by promoting awareness of good sleep habits and their effect on cognitive well-being. So in terms of the relationship between sleep and memory, I guess we can look at it from two aspects. One, perhaps the older one, how do we really have fragments of memory interspersed into our sleep, specifically into dreams. But of course, the other more recent and maybe a bit more dominant approach is really the contribution of that active stage, that sleep is really an active stage in which cognitive processing actually occurs. And of course, we will concentrate on the issue of memory consolidation. So the plan for this couple of days is that we will start with a session on cognition, essentially during sleep, and we will have two speakers which will discuss this. Of course, in the background is fundamental questions such as cognitive processing and consciousness, which lurk in the background. In the second stage, we'll reach a more controversial aspect, really, and that's the aspect of enhancement, or even worse, inception. And I think that we'll really looking forward to some active discussion and presentation of data. In the third part, we'll move into dreams and their relationship to memory. And in the fourth part, we really look more at the issue of the problem with quality of sleep, with insomnia, with sleep deprivation and its effects. So I think in this sense, we do have a full program. We'll look both at human and animal data and also look at various tools to really investigate that, starting, of course, from animal research on the one hand, but then in the human domain, from clinical observation to extracranial EEG, intracranial EEG, down to the level of single neurons. We have some presentation even this morning already about single neurons in humans. And of course, the modern tools of neuroimaging, and we'll see how all that, will keep it in mind, the various tools. Now, the goal here is not just to have, each one talk about, their own specialty. The idea of having some kind of an interdisciplinary discussion. So in this sense, it's a special conference because we are interested also in the humanities and in societal issue. I myself am a neurosurgeon, but I cannot, avoid the mind, especially when I'm operating on patient under local anesthesia, and there is really a drape which separates the brain from the mind, right? The mind is behind that drape. So it's really a reality. And, we have to also to keep in mind that we are facing a cognitive catastrophe, I would say, in the sense of millions of people affected with memory disorders, which are already here, but there will be many more in the very near future. So, of course, sleep is really part of that equation, and we want to really look at it. We know we live in a society where we want to take care of every minute, right? And we delegate our brains to, programs which navigate to calculators. And some people would say, well, what a waste of time. We should really take better advantage of this sleeping time. This is the only territory left still, which we have not used or abused in a way. So, we're talking about questions like, do androids dream of electric sheep, right? And the question is, to what extent artificial intelligence and the neural networks today are going to be able to decode our dreams? Google has already the deep dream algorithm, which, looks at visual stimuli and turns them into hallucinogenic images, which you are supposed to be seeing in dreams. We have the issues which Professor Mirdal alluded to what extent, we can use or abuse sleep, We can abuse sleep, obviously, as a tool of indoctrination. On the other hand, we can, affect people maybe in a positive way. I'm thinking of Clockwork Orange for some reason, but this is something which we want to keep in mind. So, looking forward to a couple of days. Interesting. I think the main motto, which I emphasized already in previous conferences, is get out of your comfort zone. Meaning, you're not here to tell us about the very, details of your wonderful studies, which I'm sure all of you are doing, but trying really to communicate and see what is the implication of this for other disciplines, and occasionally try and look at the big picture. So, with that introduction, I think we will move to the first part of this conference. And, as I said, we will look at the cognitive aspects of sleep, both unsuspected cognition during sleep that Kider from the École Normale Supérieure will discuss first, followed by Yuval Nir from Tel Aviv University, who will discuss the issue of the disconnection which occurs during sleep, and will show you some exciting data from both animal and single neuron work in humans. So the format is that we will have those two talks, and then we'll sit the speakers here and we'll fire at them, and we'll let them, raise issues, because we have left lots of time for the discussion. This is really the main thing, to really have this discussion. So with no further ado, I will invite Sid to give the initial talk.